He's ready.
Hey, fans of the Monday Movie Club. This week we're back to 1998 movies, my project to watch movies celebrating their 25th anniversary. I'm Frank Gaffney. Here with us is Joel Fenster, Annie King, Amy Goldfuck, and Cringer. Mark Wotitzgartner. Uh-oh, no picture. This week, we watched Wes Anderson's Rushmore. Wes Anderson is another one of those directors, Joel, back me up on this, whose films are always interesting.
Yep.
And I will watch every single one of them.
Yep.
And if there's one word to describe Wes Anderson, it would be quirky.
Quirky.
Yeah.
I was going to say fucked up, but that's okay. That's 2 words.
Exactly.
So wouldn't you say he really is a unique voice in all of filmdom?
Yes, very much so.
He really is. Okay, here, this is only his second film, and he already has found his quirky little voice. I did not see the first film, Bottle Rocket.
You'll be seeing it next year.
Okay, does it have the same kind of attitudes? And
They're all the same.
All right.
He's
Well,
just
this
like,
one,
to me, it's like Wes Anderson, the Coen brothers, and Quentin Tarantino. They all have such a specific voice for every movie. And I don't think any of them really make bad movies, but I'll shut up now.
please do. This one is a coming-of-age comedy about an eccentric teenager named Max, played by Jason Schwartzman in his film debut, and his friendship with a rich industrialist played by Bill Murray, who has been in almost every Wes Anderson movie since then. And their love they're in love in common for an elementary school teacher played by Olivia Williams. I don't even know who she is.
She's currently playing Camilla Parker Bowles on the new seasons of The Crown. I believe that's her.
She is British. But his co-writer on this one was Owen Wilson, and together they created this whole sense of, they call it the slightly heightened reality movies. And the two of them met at the University of Texas in Austin, where they were roommates. Interesting. Okay, so like Max, Wes Anderson was expelled from prep school in 10th grade, and Max also shares Wes's ambition, or lack of ambition, for academic motivation, and he even had a crush on an older woman teacher. And Owen and his brother Luke, who appears in the film, also went to prep school, so they all could relate to that kind of prep schooly attitude, as can Cringer, obviously.
This is our reality.
Right.
But Rushmore is really a film about obsession and the friendship between this 15-year-old boy and a 50-year-old man. But for the whole film, it's very unclear which one of them is actually not the adult. And so we get to go on the pair's whimsical journey with a style of humor and dialogue that is exactly what now we expect from a Wes Anderson movie. But Bill Murray is wonderfully droll, and this performance actually made him an independent film darling after this movie. And here he's mean and selfish and bullying, but he's also warm and generous with his time and his money. And his comic timing is brilliant, as usual. I mean, just watching him fall over the fence and you think he invented slapstick comedy. He's so funny. He really is. I gotta turn the page. And this was a really amazing moment of acting for me. At the very end, when he finds out that Max's dad is really a barber and not a brain surgeon, like Max said, Bill Murray's face kind of collapses for a split second, and then he composes himself, completely understanding in that moment why Max would lie. And Bill Murray just absorbs it, gives it to us, and then he loves Max all the more because he did that. And consequently, we love Bill Murray even more, and Jonathan. So, and Jonathan Schwartzman is just so perfect in this movie. Jason, sorry. I wrote Jonathan. Is there a Jonathan
You're thinking of Jonathan Silverman.
Oh, no, not him. Jason Schwartzman is so perfect, and dare I say, a little dreamy.
Yeah. He's no Jonathan Silverman.
Ah, it's nice that Amy could call in her lines from the bathroom. And how fun to see Brian Cox after just seeing him be such a dick on Succession. I didn't even know he was in this movie. And there he was. But the kid who plays Max's chapel partner is so brilliantly deadpan. Oh my God, this kid, good Lord. His name is Mason Gamble.
Yep.
And the delivery, when he says, with friends like you, who needs friends?
Right.
Oh my God, hysterical. And then I look him up and he played Dennis the Menace.
Yep.
That was his first big role.
And now he's a marine biologist.
Yep.
No more acting for him.
It's like George Costanza.
Only less annoying.
Yeah.
Another line that cracked me up more than it really should have was when Luke Wilson says, "These are OR scrubs." And Jason
Oh,
says,
yeah.
"Oh, are they?" Oh my God, cracked me up. And Serpico as a stage play, I swear to God, I want to direct that. And it is, I'm not kidding, it is a minor masterpiece. So brilliant. And then the Heaven and Hell, oh my God, so funny to me. So, but it's also, it has so many little beautiful just touches and moments. You know, his production crew must run the other way when he wants to start a movie. They're like, no, please, no. And but few films really are so sweet and kind to the geeks of the world who will never inherit the earth, Joel.
I'm not trying to.
And they even struggle to find their little place in the world. It's so beautifully plotted, everything about it. And it ends perfectly with them on the stage while you hear over the soundtrack, "I wish that I knew what I knew now when I was younger." How beautiful. Can I get an amen in here?
Amen.
Amen.
And then at the end, I actually had to look this up because I didn't understand it. He says, "She was my Rushmore, Max." And he says, "Mine too." I'm like, what does that mean? I looked it up. Because neither of them can engage with her as a person. She's really just a concept that they think is their path to happiness. If only she would deign to love either or both of them, then obviously their broken world will somehow fix itself. I'm like, oh, wow, look at that. Melancholy at its comic best. So no Oscars here, but in 2015, the Writers Guild chose it as the 39th funniest screenplay of all time. And in 2016, it was inducted into the National Film Registry. So that says something.
It's also part of the Criterion Collection, which says whatever you wanted to say.
Says they were able to license it.
Yeah. Well, not just license it. Wes Anderson is a fan of the Criterion Collection, so almost every one of his movies is part of the Criterion Collection at this point.
He probably writes it in his contract now, and this has to go in the Okay, so obviously I'm going with 3.5 stars on this one. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And seriously, this was the only second time I'd seen the movie. I only saw it one other time. So I still very much enjoyed it. And well, Mark, didn't seem like you enjoyed it at all.
Does anybody, excuse me, anybody here have Wes Anderson's home address?
Because
I'd like to drive to his house and punch him in the face repeatedly for making this movie in 1998 and therefore making me watch it as part of this group. I hated this movie. I couldn't wait for it to be over.
Wait, what's worse, this or A Little Big Man?
I have it in my notes here. I'd rather rewatch The Quiet Man followed by Little Big Man before this craptacular crap fest of a movie. I hated this movie.
wow.
I just, the style, whatever it is. I also remember hating the Royal Tenenbaums. And then Danielle and I tried to watch The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. We didn't make 20 minutes of it. The only Wes Anderson movie that I think is all right is The Grand Budapest Hotel. And it is quirky, but in a funny way. The rest of this stuff, the quirkiness is just bizarre.
If I remember correctly, you have to watch Isle of Dogs. I think I loved Isle of Dogs.
That's him too?
So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a cartoon.
it's
Great.
animated. Yeah. So not only could you not relate to it because you weren't a nerd in high school,
Yeah, I was.
But he was what, like 6 when the movie came out, right?
right?
Yeah.
I was 23 when this movie came out.
And and all the humor just was lost on you.
I think I smiled twice. The rest of it, it was more of a grimace. I just couldn't. I'll look what I wrote here. I like some of the music because I grew up with hippie parents, so I had folk music as part of my childhood. But there were just too many scenes with no talking and just folk music, and it was like, I get it, they were trying to tell a little story, but I was bored. I didn't like it. I thought the acting was good. I get what you're saying about, of course, Bill Murray and Jason Schwartzman. It was fine, but for me, it was just the movie had no point. I couldn't wait for it to be over. I just didn't. And it was too quirky and bizarre. Excuse me. During the end of it, during the Vietnam fight, as I began to reach for my short sword to commit ritual suicide, thankfully, there were boobs in the background of the theater. I was like, all right, that's something. I don't know. I didn't hate every minute of it, but I gave the Phantom Menace 1.5 stars, and at least that one had Jedis and lightsabers. So this is getting 1.5 stars for me too. I'm done with Wes Anderson. Well, apparently not. I'll have to watch one more next year. Thank you.
And you have to watch Isle of Dogs.
I'll give the Isle of Dogs a try.
I'm adding one less Wes
Isle of
Anderson
Dogs.
movie every year. So you're going to get all of them.
Wait, this wasn't your choice.
No.
So you didn't add this one.
No, I said I'm going to be adding.
Oh, you're going to. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Quentin Tarantino and
Yep.
what was the third one Amy said?
Coen Brothers.
Coen
Oh,
Brothers
Coen.
and Kubrick.
I don't know Kubrick very well.
Annie King, had you seen this before?
Nope, my first time.
Did you
And
find it fun?
and I guess, Mark and I are very much aligned in our movie watching
Yeah.
preferences. But I sat there, I watched it. It was okay. It was quirky, and I laughed. And really, I'm like, why? Like, I didn't find it really that interesting, or, luckily it was only an hour and a half movie. So
Yeah.
That was a good part.
But I'll go to movies. I'll watch movies, and this is one I probably would have said like, why did I pay to watch it? Which I didn't, so it's good that I watched. Wait a minute. I did pay to watch
Yeah,
this.
you did.
But you couldn't turn it off because you have an obligation.
Yes, but it was good enough. I wouldn't have turned it off. I wouldn't have walked out of a theater. It was fine, but really, it didn't do much for me. Like Mark said, nah.
And
Yeah.
Matt translates to how many stars?
That translates to 2.75 for me.
All right. And could you pull the camera back up?
I have to. This is such a prettier picture.
Yeah, well,
I
we don't want to hear a
Dun,
disembodied
dun,
voice.
dun, 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 dun.
in my Pink Floyd shirt. I think I had seen it before. I swear I did, but I didn't remember any moment of it. But that doesn't mean anything. I did appreciate the quirkiness. I cannot believe this is like, what did you say, the 39th funniest movie? I can't believe
yeah,
that.
Funniest screenplay, 39th funniest screenplay. of
I
all
don't
time.
see that at all. I don't even
Well,
think
other writers think that. You're not a
Plus-
writer.
Plus, you didn't actually read the screenplay. You only saw the finished
That's true.
film. And there is a big difference between a screenplay and a finished film.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Mostly.
Are you drinking Bloody Marys again?
I had one last week, so I had to, go back to the bottle this week.
I think you
Okay.
need to make them for all of us.
It looks a little dirty there.
What?
Doesn't look very, it looks dirty.
You mean the glass?
Got it.
No, the drink, shouldn't it be redder?
I add a lot of Worcestershire.
What's this here sauce?
Yeah. So yeah, as I was watching it, I was thinking, let's move on, let's get to a plot, let's do something. But I did enjoy it a lot more than the two of them did. I do like Wes Anderson. I don't love him. I love Grand Budapest and Isle of Dogs, and I think there was another one that I loved, but I can't remember. Acting was great. So oh my God, Jason Schwartzman, totally forgot, is Talia Shire's son.
Yep.
So for that alone, I'm gonna give it 3 stars.
He's a Coppola.
Yeah.
He's a Coppola. Coppola?
Coppola, cupola. I don't know.
Let's call the whole thing off.
Yeah.
Joel, tell them where they went wrong.
They went wrong by watching the movie.
Yeah.
No, they did. This is a movie they're not going to get. No, I'm kidding.
It's not for the plebes.
Yeah. Look, like the Coen brothers and some others we've discussed before, Wes Anderson is very much an acquired taste. And I think part of acquiring,
And I think Mark doesn't want to acquire it.
yeah, well,
No.
it's, he's like Brie, you either love it or you hate it.
You only eat the gushy part and take the rind off.
Yeah,
The rind is the best
I
part.
know.
I always take it off of people's plate.
Maybe he's like a good gorgonzola, it's
I wouldn't even touch that. I don't like stinky cheese.
well, he's the stinky cheese of cinema. So
That I agree with.
Oh, I
think
did the stinky cheese man.
I think he could put that on the DVD box. The stinky
That's
cheese.
well, there's a children's book called The Stinky Cheese Man and Other Stories, and he should probably make that into one of his next animated movies.
That's what I toured with.
Yeah. Anyway, he is very much an acquired taste, and I've been watching him since he started. And I've been, I don't love every one of his movies. I've enjoyed every one of his movies. My favorite at this point is probably The Grand Budapest Hotel. It's more accessible, I think.
Yeah.
But this is probably his second most accessible film, which says a lot about.
Please, Mark, you're screwed.
Yeah.
But no,
If
Joe,
it's downhill from here, then I don't know.
but here's the thing, really. The level of detail is just
No,
off the charts.
there's a lot of brilliance going on in this film, and it's all, as you said, it's some of the minor moments. Like, I love that when he goes to visit Brian Cox in the hospital, and he said Brian, his wife is like, he hasn't said anything since he'd been here and anything. All of a sudden he hears Max, he goes, "What do you want?" That's like the funniest bit in the film, and there's a subtlety to it because Cox barely opens his eyes, barely opens his mouth, and it comes out like as a roar almost.
Because he's been so tortured by them.
And I think it's great. There's a
Sounds
lot
great.
of brilliant acting moments like that throughout the film. There's a lot of great quirky dialogue. I love the concept of she was my Rushmore. I think it relates back to the concept of the whole film in a nice way. That Max is in this private school that he thinks is going to get him somewhere, but it really may not, and it doesn't at the end of the day because of his own machinations. But it's
Shouldn't it be his own machinations?
Vaccinations. Well, sorry, it's too early in the morning for some of that for me. For a first time acting job, Jason Schwartzman, hits a home run for me. It's like, wow, he's both charming and off-putting.
He doesn't look 15.
No,
he was terrific.
But I think he was 18 at the time, so
Yeah.
it's not too far off. It's not like the folks on 90210 where they're all in their 30s playing high school students. But
and he perfectly gets the tone of it,
Yep.
and
I think that's one of the reasons why he's continued to do films with Wes Anderson. And I think the fact that Wes Anderson essentially has his own play company at this point with, he's got a repertory company with various actors that he's constantly working with, depending on the roles and stuff. And I think they all kind of get it, and for the most part they all work well with it. Anderson for me falls into that category of nothing's going to be worse than a 3 unless it's really, really, completely off the rails.
I agree.
But for this, I'm going to go with a 3.25. It's a fun film. Again, he's an acquired taste, and I understand why certain people will not acquire that taste. Sometimes quirky can be off-putting, and I get that it's not for everybody. That's why
Yeah.
he hasn't made a Marvel movie.
Frank going to 3.5, that's a little too much.
Yeah.
And Joel, like you were just saying, that also reminds me of the Coen brothers and Tarantino, just bringing the same people along in multiple films.
Yeah,
You see that a
exactly.
lot.
You get people that you work with, and even like Scorsese, who has a longer career than all of them, and we could banter back and forth about whether it's a stronger career or not. But he does the same thing with with
You're
DiCaprio,
right.
with De Niro, with anybody who starts with a duh in their
Or Pa.
or
Pacino.
Pacino. So
No, yeah, Wes Anderson is right. It's a whole world unto itself, and
Yeah.
and I just found it very charming and funny, and I could relate to him being the big geek of the world.
I'm
sure,
sure.
no,
And
it's
starting all of those clubs to have the social aspect of school and not have to deal with the academic, I can totally relate to that as well.
Right.
And I love how the math problem was all a dream and he was a shit student.
right.
Oh my God, he's so brilliant. That was cute. I also would like to give everybody our Grand Budapest Hotel stars.
Here's
We
some
have-
adjustments.
Joel
It
and
was 4 stars for me, for
Joel
sure.
and Frank gave it 4 stars.
Okay, good.
I didn't have a headache and gave it 3 3/4 stars. Oh, I think I had a headache. I think I was sick when we did this. And Mark and Annie gave it 3 1/4 stars.
Okay.
Well, yeah, 3 3/4 and 4.
That makes sense.
Okay, any final comments? Well,
This-
Mark,
I'm
just
looking
know
forward
that-
to this. I'm looking forward to this week a lot more than last week.
yeah, just know that we are sometimes tortured by the films you select as well. So here we are.
Demolition Man.
You know why we started this? We tortured each other with films nobody wants to watch. I know that's what Joel's main goal is.
I appreciate seeing all these movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm tortured, but
Absolutely.
Now I'm gonna throw Escape Plan in for next year with Stallone too.
I don't even know what that is.
If my main goal were to torture you, I would carry through my threat
Yeah.
with Satan Tango. So
Do they have the Cliff Notes version of
nope,
it? Can you create one before?
nope.
All right, so Wes Anderson's Rushmore is not available from your usual subscription streaming, so that's why Annie had to pay to watch it.
nor was it available at my library.
Nor was it available at Annie's library.
Oh, it was available here at mine.
Yeah, mine too.
I own it.
Next time we're going to go back to the movie theater.
I
Right after we're done here to watch Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which I love the first movie. Amy, you can look up our reviews for that.
Oh my God, I think it was 4 stars across the board.
Yeah.
That was
So
great.
see what's going on. But doesn't Wes Anderson have a new movie coming out too?
Yes, Asteroid City.
I already hate it.
It's from the previews. It looks like Tom Hanks is playing the Bill Murray role.
Oh, right. Didn't Bill Murray get in trouble on this one? Was that?
No,
the
that was a
movie?
different movie.
Oh. All right, great. Thank you all, kids. Have a nice day and go watch a movie.
And also with you.
Bye.